right, so tonight is a good one. We are going to talk about all things construction and how to make money and renovation projects. So we've got a smattering of guests here tonight. That's me. Yeah.
I'll hold it for you.
That's cool. Forrest, give us 3 seconds about you.
Forrest McGee, Richmond, Virginia, and I do too much.
You do too much.
There you
Fix
go.
and flip?
Yes.
Cool. This is Judy Haynes. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
I've been a realtor for over 20 years, have dabbled in investments for a while, but mostly buy and hold, and I just completed my first flip,
Cool.
which is my new
thing.
interest, yes.
All right.
I would say passion, but that might have cooled a little.
Okay. And then we have Josh and Viv. Give us a little elevator pitch.
Yeah, my name is Joshua Anton. I actually come from the tech industry, but an active real estate investor as well. We are building a micro resort in 10 minutes outside Luray called Horizon Shenandoah. I'll let Vivian talk a little more about it.
Yeah, hi, I'm Vivian. I used to work in consulting. I was in consulting for over 10 years and always invested in real estate, mostly long-term rentals. But we just started on the STR journey late last year. And as Josh said, we're building a micro resort right now. We plan to have 5 active STRs by the end of the year.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Cool. That was a cool project. So we're going to get into all of that. Guess who's working with all of these guys? This guy. Right? We haven't done anything because he's in Richmond, but he's a good thing. So Gage, give us a little 1-2 about the grid here and what we're doing.
Yeah, so I'm Gage, and I run Envision Holdings Group. We've got the vertical for investment-minded projects, whether it's fix and flip. You find the deal, we'll help fix it. We can even figure out how to fund it. If you're into the STRs, we can renovate it, clean it up, or build you a whole new one or a whole new resort. We've got the building materials supply and design center in Winchester, warehousing, land development division. We've got acquisitions and real estate agents now. That's fun. What else we got, Chris? Yeah, so it's really how do we position ourselves to service the whole thing turnkey, furnish it, find the land, develop the land, build on it, and turn it into something profitable. So that's what we're playing with. Cool. But Grid, I'll run through some of that. So Grid, global real estate community built for investors by investors. There's a whole bunch of these popping up all over the country. Seems like 1 or 2 every other month or so. And if you think about it, like if you can really get comfortable in this room, and if this is your backyard or not, but if you wanted to fly out to Florida or California, it really opens a lot of doors. Kind of gives you an inside seat to talk business across the country and can really, really help. Not gurus, just a group of people doing real deals. The mission is to connect, learn from, and collaborate. So, just get into the room and talk about what interests you, and you'll find a conversation for you somewhere.
Yeah. You'll never know who you can talk to that's going to lead you to your next opportunity. So even in a small, tight group like this, it's actually a cool space. And
Grid is for all levels of experience, people that know a whole lot to people that just getting started. And kind of what their goals are is growing and multiplying across the country. And then Aaron, if you want to introduce yourself, sir.
Yeah. So I'm Aaron Kavanaugh. I am a local real estate agent. I live in Berryville, but service the Shenandoah Valley as a short-term rental expert. I work specifically with the short-term rental investor, but I do all of the things. So I actually introduced Josh and Viv to their property, and then I brought Gage into the conversation because he knows everything about Page County and how to make this go. He's also got the relationship with the builder that they're working through, the I would say the architectural company, Den, right? So, but it's all about figuring out what the highest and best use for each property is, right? So I can do fix and flip. I can do buy and hold into STR like these guys over here. So there's all kinds of ways we can manage that property. My favorite thing to talk about is short-term rental. So anyway, moving on. So we're going to pass the mic. Make sure.
Another thing, please, whenever you guys have a question, just raise your hand, wait for me to get. This mic's not going to help for us to hear the question right here, but helps tremendously with the recording. So whenever we have folks from home watching, they can actually hear your questions.
Yeah.
So I'm going to pass the mic. and
Pass
you
the
guys-
mic.
Mic up real close. You have a tendency to kind of put it down here, but hold it up close so we can hear you nice and clear.
Thank you. I'm going to start right here in this corner with you.
Sorry, Chris. I'm like taking notes. Hi, I'm Terry Geyer of Silver Hat Investments. I live in Warrenton. I have one co-living and one under process, I should say. So I'm an investor.
Cool.
Hi, my name is Mel. Nice to see everyone again. Looking forward to the topic. Looking forward to investing in the future with, I don't know if it's STR or flip or whatever.
It will be. You're buying in Costa Rica, it will be an STR.
Hi, I'm Karen Angel. I focus more on buy and hold and down historic Front Royal, trying to save some of those older houses and walkability. So gotten one so far. But Gage helped me take care of. So it's the only one I have so far. So I'm just dabbling, I guess.
Cool.
Hi, I'm Charlotte. This is my sister, Charlie. We're sisters, you know. Our last name's Hicks, so we're Two Chicks Solutions, C. Hicks. We're investors. We have, I guess, 2 short-term rentals, or yeah, we're very close to having that going on, and we're very interested in how to build exactly what we want.
Cool.
Well, thank you. Hello, everyone. Some of you know me. So my name is Ahmad. I'm working for Sell Simply. We're a wholesale business. Sell Simply is part of Gage, so we do wholesaling in pretty much all around the country, but especially in Virginia and North Virginia. And it's excited to be around here. Thank you.
He is Mike Cappello's newest partner. So Mike's one of the leaders here, so he's just joined Mike in Sell Simply. So welcome.
All right, hi everyone. I'm Catherine Harmon. I am with TWG Insurance in Winchester. I know nothing about investing other than my financial advisor just puts money into it and I tell her just to do whatever she wants with it. So I'm just here to learn. I'm here to make connections. I'm really looking to work with realtors and lenders and that kind of stuff and the people that are telling your home buyers you need insurance, and I want my face to be the first one you think of.
Cool.
So Catherine Harmon, TWG Insurance.
Great.
Hi, I'm Matt Rupert with Main Street Home Loans. I'm a residential mortgage lender, whether that's primary, secondary, or investment properties. I'm not currently an investor, but I plan to be in the future, and I'm here to learn more.
My name is Steve Rodriguez. I am with Southland Insulators. So I am one of the trades that works with Gage and some of these folks up here. We do everything insulation from crawl spaces to attics. Yeah, that's it. And I'm also a real estate agent who dabbles in investing, and I want to get to 10 rentals. So 10 rentals over the next 5 years or so.
There you go.
Just finished my first one.
Cool. Go ahead.
Hi, my name's Mike. I just recently retired from 40 years in IT, and I'm trying to find my way through wholesaling both land and properties.
Cool. Cool. Josh is a tech guy too, so you'll really enjoy this conversation.
All right, cool. Thank you.
All right,
Hi,
so-
I am Chris. Thanks so much.
You want this guy? Your turn?
Wow. Wow. I remember this.
Your intro. Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
I just thought you were cool.
I thought you were just like ignoring me. My name is Chris. I work with Gage. I'm Director of Operation with Envision. I'm also one of the owners of Vibrissa Beer in Main Street, and I've been coming here for the past 2 years, still trying to figure it out how to get into this universe. So more you come here, more you learn, easier we'll get. 2 years already.
She's a powerhouse. Maybe Joel in the back. He's one of our sponsors as well.
Joel Yaka, I am with Absolute Altitude, and we are a film and photography company. We service from Shenandoah Valley all the way to DC. We do a ton of real estate, as well as STRs and commercial video production.
Oh, looks like we got one more coming in the back that can introduce herself.
And our local bombshell, like, rock star.
All right, so
Into weightlifting and nutrition and stuff like that, that's your person to talk to back there. She's awesome.
all right, the legal mumbo jumbo. We're not lawyers. Don't sue us. Release for filming and photography. There's obviously cameras. We're filming this. This is photography. If you don't want it, maybe duck off on the side or something. And then, yeah, so today's topic, construction renovations. And we thought we'd add the twist, and I brought we got Forrest in here from me for some backup, so I'm not just sitting in the hot seat, because the rest are clients. Like, this could get interesting. So, and again, it's a forum, so like ask questions, things that strike your interest, and we'll try to lead this as best that we know how. So, I don't know where we want to start. Maybe on the simpler side of things, there's fix and flip, the renovation side. I know I can speak to it heavily. I know Forrest can, and we've got Judy here that just finished her first one. That's pretty exciting. Anybody else flipping in the room?
So we got the two chicks, they're flipping, right? Flipping chicks.
Flipping chicks.
Cool. So Judy, what brought you to the table for flipping? I mean, obviously you are a real estate agent, you understand the investment model, but what brought you to that particular decision?
Kind of transitioning into retirement, pre-retirement, whatever you want to call it, kind of getting tired of working for other people, buying real estate and wanting to do more for myself. And my husband was ready to take a step back from his full-time job into a teaching role. And so I wanted something that was going to provide the income at a higher level than the cash flow does from a buy and hold property or even necessarily a short-term rental.
Cool.
I don't feel I have the hospitality chops for short-term rentals. It's not my thing. I'm kind of brusque, to the point, let's get it done. I think clients don't tend to like that when they're wanting to be on vacation.
You definitely have to have a skill for that.
Yeah,
for sure.
yeah.
Cool.
So,
Forrest, same question for you. Obviously, you are a real estate agent as well as a contractor. So give us a little, what happened to you along the way? What brought you to the investment contracting?
So I've been a general and electrical contractor. Electrician is my first trade.
Okay.
I traveled around the world doing it for the government for about 5 years, and in my 20s, and that was an amazing experience. And then when I got married, I met my wife in Malaysia 21 years ago, and when I got married, I quit traveling and ended up doing government contracting, like project management and government facilities and Reston, McLean, all those areas that you talk about with 3-letter acronyms. And a lot of people in there were investing, and I was like, well, this is pretty cool. But I ended up, instead of being the PM, I started as the subcontractor, all these GCs that were tennis shoe general contractors that didn't like the outdoor stuff. So I did all the outdoor construction, and then started clearing lots, grading lots, doing, you know, that kind of work for new builds. And I was like, man, I really like to do the whole thing. But then a friend of mine approached me and goes, you want to flip a house? And I said, sure. So like, so 11 years ago, I flipped my first house.
Cool.
12 years ago, 2014. And we made every mistake possible, right? Bad partnership, didn't know the numbers, overflipped the house, everything as you could possibly do. I mean, there was a dimmer in every damn room, right? Because I'm this fancy electrician, you know? So I just totally blew all my money at Home Depot, all the profit. We couldn't sell it. So we ended up continuing the mistake process. We did a lease option. And that dragged on a year until we got to kick them out. And after that, my dad and I said, you want to learn how to do this correctly? And I said, yeah. I said, I can do this. And so we took on a mentor. And guy's name is Larry Goins out of Lake Wiley, South Carolina, and taught us what we needed to know. And it's just, you know, it's all about the numbers. And another great mentor of mine said, it's better to be out of a good deal wishing you were in than in a bad deal wishing you were out.
Yeah.
And you got to evaluate that. You got to check your emotions at the door. And it's a numbers game. It's a math problem. That's all this job is a math problem. If you can get it done and the math works, then you'll stay in business. And if not, you won't.
Cool.
You know, I'm a member, I'm the vice president of the Virginia Real Estate Investor Alliance, and it's statewide, but we're founded in Richmond. And all these lenders right now are talking about all these people they're foreclosing on, you know, because they just don't understand that it's a math problem. They just don't understand it.
Real quick, how many have you flipped since then?
I'm over 100,
Cool.
but I'm heavy on the wholesaling. I'm
Okay.
a cherry picker.
Okay.
So,
You're going to take the best ones. That's always the way to do it.
well, if I'm doing the direct-to-seller marketing, you're damn right.
That's right.
Right?
That's
You
right.
know?
Cool.
Yeah,
I'm gonna jump to Gage real quick. So Gage, obviously you're in the building space. You do fix and flips your own self. What's the difference here between the two of you guys?
I'm a builder too. I'm a builder
Yeah,
too.
he does building as well.
Okay.
I was actually going to applaud and then dial in on what he just said. It is a math game. And, you know, some of the stuff I was just skimming on this slide even is like, to me, it doesn't really matter what the property needs. It's just the math. If the math works, it works.
As long as you have the team.
Yeah,
that
the
can-
resources.
As long as you have the resources, you can do whatever you. It's sticks and bricks, man.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
But it's nothing more than having the right people that ain't going to take all your money.
Yeah, and I think that's the big thing, and that's part of what I try to provide is one of our services, obviously, is can we look at a project, walk into a project, do the math problem, figure out where the delta is and where the profit lies, and protect the investor, whether we're the investor or where our partner is, and execute the play. If it was, you know, from your angle, you're looking at the property cherry picking, which is what we kind of do as well. If the right one comes down the pike, yeah, I want it, and we'll play that execution all the way through. I don't think there's a lot of things that could be different in this game if you're doing the math and it's a business transaction. And you'll see, like what you described on your first one, if you get too emotional, if you don't check your emotions, if you get in there and you're playing more of like what you would do, what you would want to do, maybe like you get over specific on the execution, on the business transaction, it's no longer business, it's personal. And the lines can get really blurred and your profit's the first thing to go down.
My best ROI are on $20,000 houses, right? $30,000 houses that are just POSs. And, you know, I love deal structuring, so I create notes. So I find, you know, people who want to be in the real estate game and want to go to these events that don't have any experience, but they got a small IRA. I'll take 30 grand out of their IRA, out of their 50 grand IRA. We'll buy a house in Martinsville or Danville, and I'll wrap it up with seller financing, and that's when it gets fun. When you can start architecting things. And I have gotten to, so I started building because I was just extremely, extremely angry at used houses. I mean, the way that homeowners treat them, right? And I say that Home Depot and Lowe's is the worst thing that ever happened to houses, right? I mean, that people can go in and buy things like electrical items, you know, and like big wire, you know, it's like horrible. It's like a nightmare. And so, you know, I had to transition. I was just getting angry at these houses, and I had to transition to new construction because it's a different level of contractor. It's somebody that knows how to get a license, that knows how to take a test, that knows how to get a permit. I mean, when you're dealing with these other guys, I had this roofer, Joe from Boston. He was so funny, man. He'd like finish the roof at like 4 o'clock, and you'd go, "Hey, man, you gonna bring your check down here?" I said, "Dude, you're in Hopewell. I'm in Ashland." He's like, "Yeah." I said, "I'm about bringing you a check, man." He goes, "Okay, I'll be at your office in 45 minutes." I'm like, "Right, you know." But anyway, I like people that will invoice me, that will show me their permit approved, and you know, and all that stuff. So it's a more coming from government and you know commercial construction. It's like getting me back to where like I have some kind of order in my life.
Structure.
Yeah, structure. Yeah. But
And there is a certain amount of chaos in our industry.
But you'll make more money. You'll make more money in Bristol, Abington, Martinsville, Danville, those small little areas, South Boston, those little places like that. You'll make more money per deal as a ROI, as a percentage, than if you bang your head against the wall for 2 years here trying to find a fix and flip that's $400,000, and try to find somebody to lend on it at 15 to 16%. You'll make so much more money on those little deals, and they're quicker, they're faster, they're easier, and what you're really trying to learn is the business, right? I did short-term rentals. I am not a good hotel manager. It's all that is, man. It is not real estate. I did arbitrage for a while, and by the time you pay your assistant's salary, because I am not telling them where the toilet paper is. I am not doing that, right? You know, I was doing it during COVID, and they would break into our storeroom and steal all the toilet paper. And my cleaner would have to go to Dollar General and go buy more toilet paper if it was even in stock. We were having the hardest time. I was just like, I'm out of this business, man. Done, man. I mean, I got into real estate because I didn't want customers, and now I got really bad ones, right? I was like, no way, man. This is not the business for me. So I fixed that problem.
Okay.
But
Cool.
yeah, that's it. Architecting deals, that's the best part.
So Josh and Viv, tell us about your experience. You're not really fix and flip, although you have done some of that already as investors, but you're more on the buy and hold, find a project, and let's build it. So give us a little history of who you guys are and what's going on.
You want to start? Or?
Well, I guess we got into investing also because, I mean, I'm also looking to retire. My goal is financial independence, retire early. It's like a goal of a lot of young people
fire,
nowadays.
Not skinny fire.
Fat fire, for sure.
You missed it. You said it quickly. Write it down.
Financial independence, retire early. Yeah, so.
Applauding that. Smart girl.
No, and then we were realizing that long-term rentals weren't making that much money. I mean, obviously, it's Northern Virginia, housing prices are up. The only reason it makes sense for us is because I'm also a real estate agent, so there are certain tax deductions that we can take. So we decided to venture into short-term rentals, and in contrary to some others, I actually really like the experience side of things. I like hospitality, I like curating experiences. As Gage knows, I picked out a lot of stuff that he would never, ever suggest for someone who's doing a fix and flip.
Okay.
Yeah, so what was the question?
I would, yeah, I mean, I would say that when we look at, so we're new to this, right? So we've done 2 properties, launched them on Airbnb, and they've done, I would say, pretty well. But when we've looked at each house, and the 3 that we're building with Gage, right? We really try to look at a house not as an asset, but as a product. In our tech lives and consulting and in tech, we were PMs as well. So, you know, we look at how do we customize each part of the house, right? Whether it's the bathroom, the kitchen, the small things, the amenities, to target your ICP or your ideal customer profile. And so, like, I won't steal your thunder on the Heritage House, but you should talk through that a little bit.
Yeah, so we have a historic house that we started with that was built in 1830. So it's like a really old home with a lot of original fixtures, a lot of original woodwork. So we didn't want to take away from any of that. So we did kind of minimal renovations, did a lot of exterior, facelifting to make it look better, but really targeting like families with kids. So we put a playground there. The pool was already there, which is great. Obviously, we had to put the fence around it to make it safe. We have like cornholes and things like that, and just like even in the rooms in general, like the bunk bedroom with a lot of kids' toys that are high quality and not just like from IKEA. So that kind of makes it so that I think within 2 weeks of launching, we were booked for the entire summer.
Yeah. And people are paying like somewhere between $700 to $1,200 a night for a 3-bedroom, like 1830s home. Like I would say the best return on investment was the playground. I think it was like what, $3,000 for the mulch and like $3,000 for a Costco playground, which is the fancier one, right? And I feel like that drew more people than the hot tub, which cost actually more than the playground.
Yeah, I think there's like a lot of small things that we go and stay at each of our properties too ourselves, because I'm very picky, so then I feel like I can pick up like 90% of what people will complain about also.
Yeah.
So that's really useful for us. And
So I'll just give you a little history of what I know about these guys. So I was introduced to Josh through my partner, Rob Chavez. Rob and Josh were friends from way back in the day.
I was like 17.
You were 17, and so Josh is a cool guy. Josh created an app, and it was, thank you. Josh created an app that was to prevent you from drunk dialing your whoever.
Yeah.
Cool. Wound up selling that app to fund his future, which is really cool. So Josh and I get together. I have my little spiel that I go through, and within that, I know that Josh's wife is a realtor. But I knew a specific thing that they didn't know yet, right? Now they're probably better than I am because he's very analytical, detail-oriented. I am all marketing and all the other oh, this is the greatest idea, watch this. And I throw it to Gage, and then he goes, wait a minute. That can't be done, or that's too expensive, or whatever the thing is. But anyway, so we toured one day. We saw 4 properties? 7. Okay. The last one that we saw was the property they bought. It was sitting on the market. It was 80 acres in Luray. The view this way is the valley looking at the city of Luray, and the view this way is of Skyline Drive and the whole thing. So it's like the perfect property. The lady that owned it, her husband passed away. She was moving back to Madison or Greene County, and she had leased the farm out to a cattle farmer that lived next door. And so I show up, and I'm like, the topic in my head is screaming micro resort, micro resort. And the value of the property was $1 million. So I said to them, if you can pull on $1 million, $200,000, that's a good investment, right? Right? 20% on your annual, whatever.
Yep.
So they're going to do that. So with this property had the old house, 3-bed, 2-bath, and then it had it was a 1-bath,
It was a
1-bed.
garage.
It was
Before Gage
like an
renovated.
old garage that was there, turned into something else. Gage did the work. There was all kinds of things that happened along the way, but now they're building 3 specifically cool A-frame, things that everybody loves marketing-wise. Scandinavian, the whole Den Outdoors experience. If you don't know anything about it, go on to Google and look up Den Outdoors. They're building that. There's nothing like that in Page County right now. Just not, right? There's a couple of other really cool products. You're working on one, Ava. That's a different thing altogether than what you guys have. And so the short-term side of it is what I love, but if you see a vision and you can say, well, what's the highest and best use for this property? Is it a wholesale? Can I get rid of it, flip it, whatever? Everybody has a different flavor, right? So Gage does a lot of the short-term rental building for the clients that I have, from putting in a hot tub pad and adding the hot tub and renovating kitchens and baths to building a whole new set of properties, right? The reason I like working with him is because he knows it all. He's doing it all, right? And so I can just call him on the phone, hey, Gage, I got this thing going on. And then what comes out of his mouth is magic. It literally. He doesn't think that, but to me, but it's true. Like,
Straight face for a long time.
I've been a real estate agent for 20 plus years. I've learned more from this guy in the short-term rental space just by listening to what he's talking about with other clients.
I do enjoy it.
So,
and it kind of elaborate on what you just said, like highest and best use. We're talking renovations, new construction, and STR. Like, why would we do these things that we're talking about doing? We renovate houses. It's a math thing. Guess what? So is the STR, so is the new builds, and what Viv said was like perfect, was create a brand. It's kind of the direction of the whole STR. If you're just still, having an Airbnb turnover, people stealing your toilet paper is probably still happening. But it's going to evolve, and trying to stay on the front end of that. And what we've got that's really cool in the Shenandoah Valley, I mean, you know about it. You guys are in that like spearhead as well it's kind of a perfect storm of time between the tax codes, the drive for just tourism coming in general. And then if you're leading that like experience driven, high amenities, yeah, she picked a whole bunch of stuff that I would have been like, my wife's not even allowed to look at. But they've got a brand in mind. It's going to smoke most of what's out there for a good long time. And then what will happen? Somebody will copy it and expand upon it. But something that's cool, I do get to see a whole bunch of what we're doing, if not actually participate in it. So I kind of feel a little bit like a chess player with like, well, we're not going to talk about that with this guest or this investor or that one. But what could be even more beautiful, and it happens in like this room, it happened really at our barbecue last month, was a bunch of you were in the same space. And how cool would it be if we purposefully, intentionally did something here? Like now, it's our time, it's our community, we can write this chapter in that industry, but it's still a math problem. Does the return on investment exist? When do you blow the budget and it start to look like a longer cap rate or anything else? Like where do the numbers lie? Where is the return, and how is that attractive to other people that are listening along and growing behind us?
So I'm going to ask that first two for us. What's the numbers that you look for in any property that you're going to invest in? Doesn't matter the price point, but I hear
back of the napkin.
Yeah, back of the napkin stuff. Like it needs to be 70% of market value plus renovation costs. What's your number look like?
So when you're going to flip or wholesale or anything, you got to understand your buyer. I was talking to Mike about this before the event started. If you don't know who your buyer is, you're not going to sell anything. And the reason why I say that is most people are using private money, okay? There's a few people using their own money. But but the point is like private money has rules, right? And especially now that the market has transitioned in certain areas, the private lenders or the hard money lenders, they're changing their numbers. So you got to have your finger on the pulse of your buyers to know their lenders, to know that this is what they're going to blend on. And I follow the model of several people that are smarter than me. I just try to copy them. Is I don't want any money in the deal. I want 100% financing. I really don't care what the interest rate is, as long as it's under 14%, right? I don't care because that's negligible to me. The point is I don't want any money in the deal. So I know what my lenders are going to lend at. They're only going to lend at 70% loan to value and or ARV. And so all my numbers are backed out of what somebody can get the lending for. At my group in Richmond, there's more lenders in the room than there are flippers. And so, I really have my finger on the pulse of how is the end buyer going to get that deal done. And so that's it. That's the formula. So it's, 70% of ARV after repair value. And then if you're wholesaling it, You got to know some of the construction numbers. You got to have some kind of savvy on that. You can pay for an inspector. In our market, we have, you know, some inspectors that are flippers as well that have a inspecting business that they'll give you a budget. So you pay for that. You know, you have to pay for the knowledge that you don't have, right? Like these people are using Gage, they're not doing it themselves.
Right.
So it's very smart, right? And it's faster and it's easier, and you know, is in the end of the game is cheaper. But anyway, 70% minus repairs, and if you're wholesaling, minus your wholesale costs. Now, if you're good at dispo, like we have a full-time dispo person, if you're good at dispo, you can find people that'll pay over 70%, right? Because not everybody follows that formula, but you gotta dig, right? You're not going to your buyer's list on Constant Contact and getting people paying over that. My buyer's list, they're looking for steals, right? I gotta go out to these newbies that are paying cash and they're paying 80, 85% to wholesale some of these deals because their math's different, right? If I can take something down and wholesale it, right? I know that the retail buyer, their math's completely different. Their math is, okay, materials plus sweat equity equals, you know, equals a deal, right? So they're willing to pay 85, 90% of ARV just to get in that, as long as they'll have a government-backed loan. So that's the numbers. If you're wholesaling to anybody in this room, it's 70% minus repairs, minus wholesale costs.
Cool. Any questions on that part? Everybody got it?
Oh, good, Jim.
Go ahead.
Can I introduce the newbie aspect? Because that sort of statement scared me to death. Because I'm like, well, what does that mean? How do I know what the repair value is or after repair? I mean, being a real estate agent, I kind of felt after repair value, okay, I could figure that out. But the repair costs was like crazy. And the cost of money and all of that. I mean, you know, I talked to Gage, he just kind of does back of the napkin stuff.
and that's something important that you just mentioned, the cost of money. Nobody figures that in 70%. Everybody glosses over that part, but speed is money, and time is money, you know, use that phrase. And the longer it takes you, the less return you get. The more expensive your ceiling fan is, the less money you get, right? The more expensive that countertop is, the less money you get. And let me tell you what, people don't care if it's a level 1 or level 2 granite.
Right.
Yeah.
They don't, you care, right?
Yeah.
They don't
Right.
care,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
The biggest part I heard you say was like, know your buyer, know all of your levers, really. And that's like, when we flip houses, here's my cheat sheet. I love flipping houses in Shenandoah Shores and Shenandoah Farms. And I love bringing them back to market for $400,000. $375, if I can make that math work, that's even better because that's less days on market. I know it's going to get offers. We just did one that was a really good play. The people brought it to us. They know that I buy. Went over and saw it, had the conversation, listened to what they needed, understood it, and I gave them a cash offer on the spot for $120. I identified it as needing basically $80,000 in repairs. To nurture a relationship, I borrowed that money from a hard money lender. That was key in a later decision, but pulled it all together, fed it to our machine. They ran a little bit high on the budget, but we went on market as planned, and it actually got into a bidding and went for $15,000 above asking, which balanced the book back out.
I've been doing this for 12 years, and I don't think I've ever come under budget, right? And I'm pretty tactical,
Yeah.
right?
Well, I mean, that's why when I write it down,
I mean, if there's
it's more of a challenge. Like, I think, and I don't like that Chris can hear
It's a dartboard, right?
Yeah,
It's
I
a
don't like
dartboard.
that Chris can hear me say it, but it's like, here you go. Can you do it for 80? And then it's how close did you hit the bullseye? You know, it really is. It's a moving target. Things escalate.
Well, they're used houses.
And speed, it is. Like, I walk the house and I assess it literally on my fingers and toes sometimes. It's like, that's 10 grand, that's 10 grand, that's 10 grand. When I get up around 8 or 9, 10 fingers, can I make this house work? Yep.
Only if the numbers come down on this end.
Yeah.
So
To start, yeah.
Like whenever the numbers and safety stuff aside, like Vivian and Josh, they have a vision for what they want to make the unique experience. Whenever you guys are looking for a flip, what features in the house besides the price, or what rooms in the house you tend to put more money to try to get more money out of that deal?
For me, I was looking for kind of the unique factors. The house that I bought had these really pretty beams in the kitchen and the main living area, and it had an unfinished basement. So kind of expansion room, was something I was looking for. And, I told Gage, whatever we do to the house, those beams are staying there.
Yeah.
And I think Steve had to insulate around those special stuff. But I think, the thing that helps me, and again, I'm not fast at doing this, I don't do math in my head, but I use the grid spreadsheet. And I think that's the best tool out there. It tells you estimates of repair costs. You plug in the square foot of the house, it punches out numbers. You put in, what the after repair value is and what you're expecting for, financing costs and all of that. And it gives you a number, and it tells you, it even got an analysis tab that tells you whether that's a good number or a bad number.
If you need that spreadsheet, we can send it to you. So just be on the list, right? So we got the sign-in sheet, we'll send that out to everybody. So on that same wavelength, obviously there was something very important that was said, is know who you're dealing with on the other end. Like, is this a first-time homebuyer townhome, or is it a STR, and who am I targeting? He said families, right? And can I build something that's gonna relate? And so then you put your things together that match that avatar, right? That's why they're doing so well. Because the playground, while I would never have done that, makes complete sense now, as you heard them say it, right? Like, they're catering to families that are coming to the Shenandoah Valley. We have a swimming pool. I'm usually thinking couples retreats or high-end, things like this, but they're thinking families, and that's a different story. And then you go to a different area in Massanutten, and there's 8 or 9 bedrooms, and you've got multiple families coming together. You gotta live that space, right? So how do you have a 4-bed, 3-bath place with 12 people in it and not be uncomfortable, right? So you're thinking about all of these things as you go through it, even if you're just flipping, right? So she's thinking, wow, I could take this basement and for $40,000, hypothetically, finish that basement and increase my value by $70K, whatever that number is, right? So just thinking about who you're targeting first, that's a really big thing. And then obviously knowing your numbers, right? I walk through a house, I've been in real estate 20 plus years, I can say the bathrooms are $5,000, the kitchen is 20, and then Gage's quote comes in, double. Right? But then the client goes, oh, and they choke a little bit, and then they go, you know what, you're right, and they usually follow his lead. So then we wipe out whatever else. But if thinking about the investment of this type of business is the really cool part to me, right? What's the highest and best use? And then taking that strategy and twisting it to match your ideal. You have a question. I can see it coming. You're brewing. Okay. It's not ready yet. All right. So we've got the 2 chicks. They just went through their first flip. Give us your story. How did you like that one?
Well, we've made all the mistakes, I assume, from what we just said. It does become a passion project, and there's all the fun things, It's like, ooh, let's do this, let's do that. So my big question is, which renovations are going to deliver the highest return on the investment, so that I can at least write down a few things I've done right.
I know the answer to that question. So one you got to put the least amount of effort into. So one you can flip the fastest. And it's usually the ones that people don't want. Like, I have lost more money in this business due to my personal bias on just various things, right? Because I'm like, I'll tell you a story. You want a great story? My wife she's a premier home stager in Richmond. They do about 300 homes a year. And this is how I know what the exit was, and I'll try to be very fast. I went to this house. Has anybody ever seen mold that looks like a rainbow? I mean, it's not just black, it's pink and it's blue, and it was just freaking horrible, right? I mean, it was disgusting. And they were living, a mother and a son in a white, fluffy full-size, 100-pound dog. We're living in one room with air conditioner and cable TV. And there was a board going from the front door to the step because they were on the second level. And we could see the crawl space. There was no wood in between you and the crawl space except for that 12-inch board. And it was on like 3 acres, and it was in Dinwiddie, Virginia, and I was going to buy this thing and wholesale it. And I was so disgusted by the quality of life. He goes, "You want to see the possum that we have?" I said, "You got a possum in your house?" And he goes, "Yeah." And so we go in another room, and he's like looking for it, like picking up pillows and stuff. That was in a cage. I was in a kid's like under a pillow, right? And I'm like, these people are freaking nasty, right? This is horrible. Well, I gave him like a $20,000 offer to buy their house, and I thought I was being generous. And they go, "No." Another wholesaler in my market was the next appointment, and he offered him 80, and he sold it to my wife's customer for 120, wholesaled it, made a $40,000 wholesale, and then that guy flipped it and did a wonderful job. And I was looking at the pictures, and my wife, I changed my shoes and my shirt and my pants in their driveway. I was so disgusted with that house, man. It was horrible. And I lost $40,000 because of that bias. So you don't know what people are going to buy, right? You don't know where the money's at if you're using your bias and you're using your taste. The best thing I ever heard is you got to treat this like a business, right? If you're treating this like a hobby, or if you're treating this like, your pet project, right? Or your passion, if this is passionate to you, you're doing it wrong, okay? This is a business all day long. It's about the numbers, and business is numbers.
Got it.
That's it.
Yeah. I will answer your question in a different way, okay? So what's the highest return on things that you do, right? So I read all the magazines. So we have a system within ours, so we can bring a cash buyer or an as-is scenario. That's usually 70% of market value minus renovation cost. That's what that person's going to get. Then I go to the next step, and we have this thing called polish the penny. What does that mean, right? So we're basically doing the very bare minimums, but the things that make the appearance look the best, right? Paint, carpet, light fixtures, doorknobs, and hinges. Anything else you want to add to that?
I've heard it, yeah.
You heard it?
I've heard the spiel. You know what I do? I pull comps.
Yeah, we call it wholesaling,
And it
right?
tells me exactly what to do based off of the comps.
My best wholesale was Waynesboro, so I've flipped in Harrisonburg and Waynesboro quite a bit. I love it. I want one in Stanton, I just can't get one. But anyway, Waynesboro, I'm in a mastermind group called Investor Fuel, and I was at Investor Fuel, and they were throwing this word around, wholesale. And I just closed on this deal down in town on one of those tree name streets, I forget what it was. And they were like, "We're going to wholesale. You should wholesale this. You should wholesale that." And I already had it funded and all this crap. And I was going to flip it. And all I did was I put a lockbox on it, and I told Anna Duarte is my realtor out here. I refer everything to her, or she sells my stuff. And I said, "Anna, just put a lockbox on it and list it." She goes, "Okay." Sold that thing in 5 days. It was the best flip I ever did. I didn't touch it, right? I didn't touch it. Right. That's the best one. But I burned the lender, and they wouldn't lend to me anymore because they were in for a 6-month note, a 6-month loan, and I closed that deal in like 35 days. And when lenders deploy, you got to be good to your lenders. And when they deploy money for you, you got to run their money out of it. They're not making money if you're running it for 2, 3, 4 months.
Sure. So after polish the penny is that full retail value, right? So you're going to fix what's broke. That's first. Then you're going to think about windows, doors, roofs, right? Garage doors are biggest return on your investment. Like people see that. Landscaping is always a good one, right? And you're going to love this. And Jess, I see you out of the corner of my eye. Staging. Literally just moving furniture around, adding pillows and blankets. I'm no stager, so I'm going to let her, speak to that. But staging makes a difference, so that the person that walks in that door goes, "Oh my God, this is the best thing since ice cubes." And then they take all that stuff out, and then they go, "Oh, well, I better put that back," right? So stages, as is, polish the penny, just the bare minimums, right? But it depends on who's your end user, right? So if you own a buy and hold, you're not going to renovate it to the max like an STR. You're going to keep it in the mid-grade. You're not going to, you might put LVP versus carpet so you don't have to keep replacing the carpet. But, you know, little things like that are going to make the most returns for you. So
Right.
just thinking about it as a, you know, cost perspective first and foremost. Who am I targeting? If it's a first-time home buyer house, they're just going to be happy with the bare minimum a lot of times, unless that extra one or two things that cost a lot is there.
You know what we call those? We call them bragging rights. So, you know, you had a question about what are the places that you put money in a house. It's the bragging rights. You're selling the house to the wife, okay? And so, you know, she has to have some bragging rights when she has that housewarming party, right? She has to go, oh, look at my countertops, or hey, look at my bathroom floor, or whatever it is, you know? And so when you get dialed into that stuff, you know, you can, you know, slap builder grade paint. Oh, I don't usually, because it takes more paint when you slap cheap paint on the wall than when you slap good paint on the wall. Those are all tricks that you learn, by the way.
Yeah, there's
But
a reason why Sherwin-Williams is what it is.
Promar 200 all day long. That's the only thing I put in the house because it only takes 2 coats and not 3, so it's cheaper. But Promar 200. It's Sherwin-Williams. So Sherwin-Williams is like the best paint store in the entire world, man. They're so cool. Promar 200. It's just a builder grade, but it's like middle upper, right? Did you say that? Yeah. But that goes in all my houses. I mean, we buy it by the pallet. Bragging rights. That's it. That's what you want, right, Terry? Mm-hmm.
There's definitely strategy around all of it. Like when we flip houses, I think our goal, which we're always looking to increase that ability, but it's to have that brand that, you know, we do try to do volume. So it's not just 1 or 2 or a handful of flips every year. It's many. Is to be able to call up our realtors and our local realtor and be like, we're bringing another one, bring your buyers. Like, so we do overshoot a little bit. So we put high-end countertops and tile bathrooms, but we're pulling different levels because we've got the building materials stores. So there's different ways to compete in the industry for real.
Can I back up to what he was talking about with adding square footage? I don't think you'll get your money back very often unless it's a very high-end house on adding square footage by digging a footing and coming out of the ground. If you can finish a basement pretty easy, or like I've taken a half bath, shortened the closet up and made a full bath with a walk-in shower out of it, those kind of value adds. But you also you can't go outside of the neighborhood comps, right? Because as we all know as realtors, right, the more square footage, the lower price per foot. So what you want to do is match your neighborhood so that you get the best comps, so the appraiser has the best opportunity to get your house sold for you. Because I said it before on private lending, but it's the same thing about retail, right? It's all about the appraisal. That's it. You know, you're gonna be having a bad night if your house don't appraise, because you sold this beautiful house that you put all your money in, and now it's a $20K drop that you're either going to have to eat or, you know, go out. And those appraisals, they kind of hang around a little while. Yeah. They don't go away.
Yeah,
right?
appraisals for the government-backed loans are 6 months, but you know, all the people that live in the neighborhood feel like that lasts for 5 to 10 years, right? So just be aware. All right, so we've got rehab versus new construction, right? So give us a little. Josh and Viv, you've done both. Which is your favorite of the hour?
I mean,
you know, knowing that you're into this phase.
I mean, I guess for most of my career, we focused on more high margin, high premium products. So STRs are definitely a little more of that. You know, I would say that we like new construction. I love when I can go to Gage and figure out a good way to value engineer something. Let's build 3 septics at once for 3 houses, and let's save 10 or 15K, which is, you know, a 1-bedroom septic actually. Or can we build a well that accounts for 2 houses? Or can we, you know, I guess to kind of, I think you said this earlier, which is, You said you have all the builder grade materials and you stock up on those, right, as a builder. How do you basically leverage really good unit economics where they're scalable, right? And that you can save a few percentage points here, a few percentage points there when you're building multiple properties at once. Those things actually add up, and they allow you to spend on the more fancy things, like a bathroom that, shoots out 3 types of water at the same time. So,
she was explaining to me her shower head earlier, and I'm like, okay.
her bathroom's gonna look pretty cool. Yeah, but I think having an unfair advantage around how do you scale your unit economics and how do you get really good value engineering around your new construction allows you to have budget to spend on the things that will happen, that will be over budget and you don't expect. I don't know if you have anything to add there.
Yeah, I think like a rehab is a little bit less risk than a new construction because like we went through a lot of hurdles with like construction loan and then with delays and stuff, and then when budget is higher than our actual spend higher than our budget, like new construction would go over way more than like a rehab project would.
Correct.
But I think for us, new construction for like the micro resort project makes sense because we have a very specific vision that can't really be done with like an existing house.
Well, and I also think like, what is your BATNA, your best alternative, so for us, for example, we looked at the property, right, the first 2, and we were like, all right, what's the worst case scenario? We get a 35% occupancy, we're able to charge pretty little, right? It doesn't go well, but it's no worse than a long-term rental in Northern Virginia, right? And we get to cost segregate that house and take it off our taxes as W-2 because my wife is a real estate professional.
Yeah, I mean, we calculate the worst case scenario and everything, and if we can live with that, then we think that, it's a no-brainer. And then for ours, there's so much like future potential of new builds and stuff. We can do it as fast or as slow as we want as well.
Yeah, so I think for each of you guys, it's kind of looking at whether you're doing a fix and flip or you're doing an STR or doing a new construction. It's your financial model really is what's your worst case, right? Are you able to go for that? Make sure whatever numbers you put, haircut that, haircut that, haircut that. Don't be optimistic, be realistic, pessimistic is what I would say. And then you'll be pleasantly surprised, right? It's to Gage, I think, what Gage said, it's all math, actually. It's all a spreadsheet and a financial model.
It's your comfort zone, it's all math. What does zero math mean to you, and how far can you go? Like, how many years can you stretch that return? What is it? What are the tax strategy is obviously a huge one with the STRs, but like so much of what this will always say in any grid meeting that we're ever in, and one of the things I really love about Rob Chevez's mentality is zone. If I took anything away from the time that I've known him and doing these things is like that zone matters in everybody's reality. It's who are you selling it to, where are you buying it, all of the things that matter. What are the comps on the street? You're not overperforming. What is your zone in your STR? Like I promise you, Josh has overstudied Page County and beyond, and knowing what his competition, everything about his zone will matter. And then not getting it personal. Like really is a business transaction that we're all doing at the end of the day.
I had a conversation with a gentleman yesterday, and I really should probably put him in conversation with Josh. I don't want to overload Josh with all these questions, but the guy said to me, what's the best buy? Where should I buy? How much should I spend? And where? Because I sent him a list of 15 properties. They were all decent in my mind. He's like, I want the best one. I said, well, so does everybody. Right? What's the best one? Well, the best one is it return on investment? Is it the cost seg? What's the point that are you going to use it? Are you guys going to live in that property a little bit at some point? Maybe, maybe not. If it's making too much money, you won't, right? Yeah.
I want the money. I don't want to lose rental income.
This is extremely important to understand about the buyer when you're first meeting with them. So I now, as a short-term rental investor agent, I go out to the community and I see the best performing properties. What do they look like? Well, I can tell you couples retreats, are probably the most profitable, but they're not the most they're not generating the most revenue, right? So Gage built this property on Valley Berg down in Luray. There are 3, how big were they? 1,000 square foot, 2-bed, 1-bath. They have saunas, they have hot tubs, they had outdoor kitchens, they had really nice stuff. The total investment for that property was $2 million to 1. With the acquisition of the land and the development and the well and the septic and then the builds, right? So 2.1, well, each unit now is pulling in $140K per year in revenue. They're small. That's still good numbers, but that profit margin to me, 3 units pulling in 140 each on a $2.1 million investment, that's gonna give him his money back really fast, right? That's what they're doing. Same thing, same type of property, but I can take that house across the street and I can add amenities to it. It'll rent well, but it's not going to do that well. You know what I mean? So thinking about who is that person that's coming to us, where do we live? We live 2 hours from DC. The high-level executives in Arlington and Fairfax and all those guys, they want to come out here for something special. They're not going to stay a long time. That's why the 2-bed, 1-bath work. They're going to come out here on a Friday night. The next morning, they'll wake up, they're going to go hike on the Skyline Drive, they're going to go to the winery, they're going to hop in the hot tub and leave on Monday. They're willing to spend $1,000 for that, or more, right? I mean, you're pulling in $1,200 a night for your experience.
Yeah, look, 3 bedrooms, to be fair.
Even better, right? So, Judy, what brought you to the Shenandoah Valley in the first place?
Lack of cash. So I'm from Sterling area, Reston, Herndon. And the houses there are just much more expensive, so I needed more cash as a down payment. You know, it's great, you know, no money down, but you've got to have some experience or some skills or, you know, kind of, no. Oh, well, okay, I didn't find them.
You'll find somebody to charge you enough interest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I, you know, wanted to have a little bit of skin in the game and you know, start out with that. Did finance the majority of it, but took a home equity line of credit against my house that has a lot of equity built up, and had some cash saved up, and then just was able to find a house here. I was looking in the $200,000 range, so that what I was putting into it was lower. Or I could use more of my own money and use less hard money to do it. So again, trying to do the economy, you know, economic way out here, and kind of came here, and I've been coming to this group for like 3 years, 4 years, I don't know how long I've been coming here. Dragging Gage out every now and then to go look at a property was very accommodating, and I didn't know what I was doing. And I tried not to abuse the privilege, and then really kind of learned my lessons and used the spreadsheet and came up with the numbers and found something out here. And now I come out here and I said, just as I get over that mountain, I just kind of feel myself relax. I feel like, okay, you know, so I enjoy coming out here now.
Josh and I were just talking about that. He loves the walkability of being in Fairfax and walking to the coffee shop and stuff. I hate it.
Yep.
I want less people around me, just the way it is, but that's why I work this area, right?
Yeah.
So, but I'm interested in so you basically, it was a financial decision,
right?
Where can I go within an hour's drive that I can find a property that's, for me, able to flip?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So that's cool. So Terry, you're doing stuff in Manassas? No? Not yet?
She's doing stuff in Canada. It's close, Tank. Real close.
Pennsylvania, yeah, I get it.
Real close.
So it just didn't seem that difficult. I did a fix and flip, and we sold that, did nice, and then we went into the next property, which was a minor rehab of the property. He paid me interest for the year, couldn't pay me out, and I took the house. You know, and the co-living is just, I have little portions. One is another failed job from another borrower, not able to understand math or ROI. Even when we have chats together with the hard money lender, it's unreal. So I talked them a long time ago into, you need to exit with a strategy of co-living. That's the only way.
Sorry, I lost that. Lost the idea.
Yeah, the property could no longer sell. It's in Texas. I said, you've got to pad split this. I mean, if you can sell it to another investor, that would be ideal for all of us, but get it ready to pad split. And I say pad split because Pad Split is a marketing company, as some of you may know. They have the system. They have the paperwork. They have how you do it. They handle your bookings, all of that. And for someone who's never done any of that, and hospitality is key here, if you are in hospitality, a community builder, you just aren't going to be successful in your pad split. Versus co-living is just a generic term. So we're trying to get through that right now and how to work out the math, because it ain't mathin'.
It ain't math.
Nah. And these things happen. You know, what started as a project that could have done decent, you know.
Terry, I think the lesson that you've learned is don't deploy your money in states that you don't ever go to, right? People that you don't.
I still don't, I would hesitate now, absolutely.
Most of the successful lenders, Mike Crumbine, right, Richmond Mortgage, he very, very rarely goes out of, the Central Virginia area. He's done deals for me out here in Waynesboro, but that's because we have a track record of success, right? Suzanne and Charlie Booth, they just done their first loan out of the state, right? But that's because they've known this guy for years, right? So you said to her it was an hour drive away, right? When you're new, I have a really hard time with virtual stuff because I have to smell it, touch it, walk it,
Sure.
right? That's just me. I'm that person.
Yeah.
I have a real hard time with hands off. I'm just a control freak. You call it what it is, right?
Well,
But
I think by coming to this group and learning through Grid, I mean, like I said, I've known Gage through this group for years, kind of built up that rapport, knew his character of this, and very trustworthy. So I was making weekly trips out here, probably more than Gage wanted me to. But,
She was there more than I was.
I was with, talking to the foreman. I'm like, why is that chimney still there? That was supposed to come down last week.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, I'll check on it. So, so the hour for me really was a familiar territory by the time I jumped into it. And I credit this group for doing it.
Was not on the list, and then all of a sudden became on the list. I don't want to talk about that.
I will say that, before we took the plunge in Shenandoah, we actually went to Joshua Tree. We went to, we looked at the Poconos and a few other places, actually, because we travel all over the world, right? We're like, oh, this would be a cool place to own Airbnb. And we almost pulled the trigger on a place in Joshua Tree. We had a friend in LA, and we're like, oh, he can go, LA's pretty far from Joshua Tree, actually, manage it. And we're, I think, very grateful we did not do that, because just the amount of things that come up being an hour and a half away, right, to be able to go down there, figure out a guest, all those things, I couldn't even imagine being across the country or our friend being 4 hours away.
You just got to add that cost.
And we don't even know the area that well,
I mean,
too.
the Joshua Tree manager charges 30%.
Yeah.
That's higher than I think the average around this area.
Very successful guy. But
Yeah.
And once you scale, management becomes a viable tool, right? Once you guys scale to a point where you don't want to handle the bookings, you don't want to manage the cleaners anymore. I mean, I've been doing this a minute. My network's pretty big, and so I know people that have over 30 short-term rentals in Richmond, and how they do it is they get owner financing. They find those big 5,000, 6,000 square foot homes stay on the market that are 80s and 90s, decor and fixtures and everything. And they, it's been on the market for 800 grand. They offer them $100,000 down, owner finance it, and they take it. And this one lady says, I'll give you 120 if you leave the furniture. And she's been so successful. She's pulling like 30 grand a month in one of those 6,000 square foot houses down in Richmond. And it's $100,000 down. right? And then just a loan payment, right? I mean, imagine, how fast you get your money back on that.
Yeah.
So
30,000 times 3 months is 90. Obviously,
you're
you
on
have
the
other
right side.
you have other expenses, but yeah.
And in
yeah.
6 months, you're on the right side of the deal.
Right.
Right? That's the magic with seller financing, right?
And then you roll it into a DSCR. Not that you want to, because the rate's probably 2 or 3%.
You're probably better off keeping it with the owner and just,
They're making money because they're getting their bill and their credit score's still good and all that. Yeah.
And let's say it's a $700,000 house, and they got to pay capital gains on it. It's so attractive for them not to, right? So there's so many ways to be creative in this marketplace, but passion's not one of them.
Got it.
Sorry.
To touch on something you said, though, on property management generally, like, I think whether you're doing fix and flips or you're doing STRs, this rule applies. It's finding your, I'm going to call this, finding your I'm not a sports guy, fantasy football team of the best people that are experts in their field and focusing, right? So being a jack of all trades and a master of one or two, depending, right? So having an amazing builder, having an amazing property manager, ensuring you have someone that you're partnered with locally that can help with some of the maintenance, right? Making sure you do that in a way that doesn't break the bank, but allows you to focus on the things that you're really good at so that you can grow those parts of that business. Because whether you're doing a fix and flip or whether you're building an STR1 or a micro resort, it's a business with, basically, I wouldn't call them employees, but subcontractors and so forth that you're working with. I don't know if you put together the team. I don't know if you have anything to add there too.
Yeah, I mean, I do think that because we do have a property manager too, but I'm still pretty involved because it's like the first couple months of us launching, and I do think that's important from the start because you know your property much better than the property manager. You know everything about what the guests should experience and what to recommend them. And then we're starting to think about SEO strategies, like building our website. And I actually do think that I think the passion could tie into the business too, because it's not like we're like, oh, we just want to build this thing because that's what I want. Like we looked at all the STRs in the area, how much they're generating, what do they offer, and what can we build to build something that's better than all of them.
Yeah, what's the unfair advantage for the property?
Because everyone can come in, get a dem outdoors model house, and throw in the sauna and the hot tub.
Yeah, I think it's
But
passionate about your brand.
Yeah.
Your character and what you're going to service and deliver, but a business transaction is a business transaction is that raw.
Right.
So just real quick, budgeting and planning, everybody understands what we've got written down here, of course. More importantly, contingencies, water damage, foundation issues, things you cannot see. Septic systems.
Contingencies don't mean much to me. I'm more like a Christmas morning kind of guy, what did I get?
Oh, geez, there's water leaking. This is great. I love water leaks. They're great.
The cost I hate most are the things that you have to prepare, you can't see and don't add any value, but you have to do it.
I think some of the biggest parts on this one particularly I kind of speak on was like Shenandoah Valley. That's exactly where we're at, where we're investing, hopefully all of us. When to renovate, when to build, and all of that we're supposed to be talking about is still tied back to the zone. What is the market demanding? Is inventory up? Is there a really low inventory at a price point? And depending on what your appetite really is what can you take down? Like, I like all of them. We're feeding a machine. But if I'm just a fix and flipper, and I would say zone in, know what the market is doing, know what best price point is going on. I can tell you, if you buy something that then the math works in Shenandoah Farms and you can sell it for $400,000 at the end of it, you will make money if you can make the math work on your purchase. It is a sweet spot. People are buying them. Like in our neighborhood, Shenandoah Shores, same thing. If the math works, and just move quickly, because when they come on, like people are grabbing them up, and
I had a wholesaled a house down in Newport News, and I had a buyer they were trying to move quickly, And I had a buyer start demoing the house before they closed. And I said, what the hell are you doing? They go, we're gonna buy it. I said, whoa, 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 whoa. I was like, no, not that quick, right? You know?
But like some of the things that I look at, some of the things that I'm playing with and looking at is like, when does the balance fall out? Like, I like a certain amount of houses to flip, or a certain amount of project loads, really, is what I'm after. So if I see my sweet spots, like I can't stand flipping houses in Strasburg. Like, they just sit on market. It might be a good long-term rental place. Some places like it's hard to flip in Page County because like their buying power is just super low. Like, you need to sell cheap, and maybe you'll sell it. But if inventory was to drop, if like these off-market deals, and they've been slow this year, but if they continue to stay at that pace, that's when my mindset will shift to, when do you build? I would start buying up some of the empty lots, doing some spec houses, and fill that demand. Like, can I execute a similar version, a new construction spec house in my sweet spot and sell it for $400,000? The play exists. I'm just waiting for the project loads to drop, because I'd rather renovate, to be honest. Like, my turnaround is going to be faster. My headaches are going to be a little bit lower. I know we agree on something, that I hate some of these things that have happened in these old houses, but I also know that my team can like strip, gut, redo, and revamp a house in like 10 weeks. I'd be lucky to get my permits and all the other, like, for a new construction, you gotta go through the health department. And I know all those guys are backed up, 4 or 5 weeks, and now you got VDOT entrances, whether it was they established or not. Like, there's a lot of rules at play that slow down the train. So I need my flips. But if that inventory starts really dropping like it has, I was saying the other day, like I think we did 20 some odd last year, and then this year up until today, it's been like 7, 8 maybe. It's a drastic shift, but we've seen it because of the market. Like in our region, it's popular for short-term rental. It's a destination spot. The tax bill created all this extra interest, and spike went up, and clients rolled in. So kind of, I don't know if you got anything from that, but know your zone, I guess.
Yeah, it's always that.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask Josh this one because he's studied the market very, very well on this. What amenities in your property have brought the highest returns so far?
I mean, we talked about the playground. I'd say the pool, like a.
Yeah, I think for us, location also, because we're only 10 minutes from the Shenandoah National Park entrance. So that's like a huge selling point. A lot of people are actually interested in historic homes as well. As you know, if you go to Lurie Caverns, there's a heritage village where there's literally a house called a Shank House that looks exactly like a house.
Yeah, I would also say the small things. I know they're, and I'm not the small things guy, honestly, but like, we'll take the cottage, right? The cottage is a 2-bed, 1 bathroom with a garage before. Gage did a phenomenal job gutting it, returning it to, like, it looks very modern. But I remember even one of your clients toured it, and she was like, they were like, yeah, this is the budget, like, thing. And she was like, this is budget? But it's because Vivian took so much care to, like, the small things and the...
No, I think it's more like I cared a lot about the functionality of the place, because I remember all the Airbnbs I stayed at where there are only 2 pans and they're all scratched up, or there's only 1 pot. I think if the guest feels like they have everything they need, you thought about everything, that's like in a lot of reviews that we get, for sure.
100%.
Yeah.
And just to add to that, like, what I see that brings the most return right now, if somebody says to me, I'm not buying a hot tub because it's too hard to manage, well, guess what? You're losing 20% of your revenue right off the top for a hot tub, right, in our area. Now, does a hot tub in Florida work? No. Right? Unless it's wintertime. But that's where they have all the swimming pools and stuff like that. So thinking about that, number one. The other cool things like the mattresses, the sheets, the little tiny things that make them feel more comfortable. You show up, you go to a Comfort Inn versus the Hilton, you're going to get a different level of experience. And if you're paying $1,200 a night, you're expecting certain amenities.
I mean,
We have people messaging us like, where'd you get your mattress? Where'd you get your hair
pillows.
dryer, your pillow, your couch? Like, it happens so much.
And these are small things. They're not big cost items, actually, but they matter so much to the guest experience. I mean, another one I would say, like $600, booster pumps. Have you ever been in an Airbnb where the shower and the water pressure is not that great, right? A booster pump on that for $600 or so, you have a good shower. Those small things just make the experience just better.
But I think the most important thing is to dynamically price. So we like dynamically price, obviously, if it's more last minute, it's priced lower so that there's always, I think the demand is higher also because of it. So we really look into what's the minimum stay requirement, what's the price difference of like weekends versus weekday. If you book 3 months ahead, it's gonna cost more.
Yeah, and I would say one last thing is that, and we haven't gone for the winter season yet, but we're looking at what do we do to increase a 40 to 45% occupancy in the winter to ideally 65, 70%, right? And we really try to put ourselves into the shoes of the consumer that's staying at Airbnb. If it's raining, make sure you have a good TV and a good media space so they're not unhappy, they can't go outside. So one of the things that we're looking to do is, and I'm a huge nerd, so we're putting a manga library actually, which is like, with other books too that will be there, but basically that our folks can just go into, right? It's a dome, we'll have some books in there and library, and people can just read and just spend the whole day there in the winter or when it's raining.
No, but it's also not random because the new builds that we're building, we're incorporating a lot of like Japanese aspects to it. It's gonna be like a curated natural hot spring, like not real natural water, but it's gonna look like a Japanese onsen. And then it's gonna have like those kind of like cross between Scandinavian and Japanese aesthetics. So that's why the manga library makes sense. Not like we're just like throwing randomly into it.
But the onsen was our take on how do you make a hot tub unique, right? How do you make what you're building remarkable or worth remarking about,
like,
basically?
It's gonna have like waterfall like features for the, it's gonna have natural rocks. It's gonna look very integrated into nature. And it's gonna have the view and everything.
Gage is a genius. He helped us figure that out.
So that leads me to this, right?
Soak it up.
Soak it up. He actually does his thing. All right, so managing the project, right? So first and foremost, hiring the right people, right? So getting what he's saying, zone into a marketplace, find the right people, come to a group like this, get the right people in the room. Setting clear expectations, that's the first and most important thing to me, right? Obviously getting the contractors the thing, but like Judy had a thing, right? I want to come out here. Why did she come out here? Well, the price point was the thing. She had a clear expectation of what she was getting. She had joined this group. She knew Gage. She trusted Gage. The project went. How did you feel it went?
No, I mean, the project itself went well. No, the project itself went well. It was, genius. Yeah, we got to take his ego down a little bit here.
Did you make money?
Yeah, yes.
Quite funny, actually.
Yes, we hit some bumps. There were, definitely things. I think,
There was Christmas morning a couple times.
Yeah, one of the funny setting expectations, we get to the very end, ready to put it on the market, and I think I called Chris, and I'm like, where's the washer dryer? And she's like, we didn't budget for a washer dryer. I'm like, it says appliance package right here. And she says, appliance? I said, a house with appliances always includes the washer dryer. And she goes, well, it's under kitchen. If it was under laundry room, then it would say, appliance package there. And I said, we didn't have a laundry room line item.
Hold on, this just literally has budget thing.
Expectations. Setting clear expectations.
Hold on, I used to put refrigerators in my flips. I haven't done that in about 7 years, and you know what? They still sell, right? I mean, it's magical how nobody cares whether you spent $1,500 on a fridge or not, right? Laundry machines.
I can assure you,
you want to know why?
I'm putting refrigerators.
Let me tell you why. So this is good. So $1,500 for a fridge, $2,000 for a decent, washer, dryer, right? Then you got the hookups. Now they're inspection items.
Yeah.
Okay, now you've got issues like, let's say you bought a scratch and dent and, they want a credit for that, dent because you're trying to go cheap on these things that you shouldn't be buying anyway, right? I mean,
It's valid.
I'm serious.
He's
man.
okay. He's been in the mix for a minute.
So, you buy this fancy stinking, what is that thing called? Refrigerator. Okay, it's got that.
We're gonna talk to Joel about
See,
his refrigerator here in a minute.
I'm stuttering. Right? People would buy refrigerators, right? Because of course you're going to buy one with an ice maker. What is that? That's a potential problem. I'm going to give you a great story. My first flip where we lost money, we bought a freaking refrigerator, right? And my dad, I'm a third generation electrician. My dad was working on the circuit for the fridge. My business partner loved ice. So we had the ice machine full of ice. And my dad cut off the circuit, and we went home, and the next day there's a water leak in the basement because the freaking ice melted, right? So you're just making problems, right?
I mean,
and your contractor, right? Your contractor doesn't tighten the nut on the back of the ice maker machine, on the water line, and you come into a puddle of water on your brand new floor. We've had my wife staged a house one time. I helped her start her business, so the first couple years I was Muscle Mike, right? And so we walked into one house and there was a waterfall coming out of the kitchen cabinet on the brand new finished hardwood floors, right? And the whole thing was buckled, right? I mean, they were solid oak floors and they were all swollen and buckled up on a house we were staging that was going on the market that week, right? I mean, how many problems do you want in life, right? I mean, count them up, and then don't do the fridge and don't do the laundry machines. That's a good start.
So I've got a little funny over here. So Joel just posted a couple weeks ago about the refrigerator at his house. So Joel, tell us about the story.
Yeah, so if I was investing, I would not put a refrigerator in any of the houses and I would especially not put an LG refrigerator in a house because I've had two in the past year, brand new, both of them top of the line, both of them crapped out on me. So, and LG's customer service does zero for you. So, I had water all over my floor.
There you go. We should have sent you the memo. Well, we didn't supply his refrigerator. I'll say that first. But yeah, LG and Samsung, man, stay away. Stay away.
It's interesting. So
I like
you go down to
Frigidaire.
You go to your favorite store, the kids' candy store, and you get to Home Depot and you talk to the service rep, and they say, "What's KitchenAid?" Well, that's just a fancier GE or whatever. They're all cross-branded, but I've bought Samsung and I've never had good success. They always break, right? I have a 1975 freezer in my house from my parents a long time ago that still works. Yeah. It creates a lot of ice around the inside, but it works great. As far as new builds, I had a brand new build. Everything was perfect. We're there for the walkthrough. The client turns on the shower. They had glass doors for the shower. Well, guess what was leaking? The shower door was not close enough to the wall, and the water is spilling out over the floor, right? We videotaped it for the builder. He's like, holy crap, I've never had that happen before. And it was just a slight adjustment that caused that problem. But it cost him a couple grand to fix it because the floor is buckled and all the LVP was all jacked up from it. All right, so common mistakes. Gage, what do you see the most?
Yeah.
Fix and flip, building a property.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm going to point to the one in the
who's on
middle.
the hot seat, the contractor or the client?
Hiring the cheapest contractor. I had a conversation about a property.
Getting a little too personal into into a business transaction. Obviously, everything that we've spoke about. It's, if you just flipped your house and it's the nicest one on the street and none of the comps match, you did something wrong. Like you did what you wanted to do. But did you make money? Because that's probably what you started by wanting to do, was to make money. We've all been guilty of that, I'm sure of it. Chris has been guilty of it. Run Wild, her very first, we ought to write a book. Well, a little bit, yeah. But her first flip, she ran over budget like 30 grand. and quartz countertops, waterfall, and a flip. But you know what?
In a flip.
You trust in the person, and to be honest, like, it did actually sell above asking. Interesting. Yeah.
I've learned with Gage that buying the cheapest is not the solving of all the problems, because then you're going to come back and fix after way more time.
Yeah, don't cut corners. Like, I could even see cutting the refrigerator, I guess. I might have to have coffee with you first and like
Try
understand.
it. Hey, listen. So the guy who taught me that, he said, if they want a refrigerator, it's a renegotiation, right? I mean, as realtors, you know, when I put that hat on, right, we want as many negotiations as possible in a transaction, right?
So we did do the washers and dryers like a year or so ago, and it was mostly because of the subsidies. You know, like, let's leave another card in our pocket that we can negotiate with. We haven't gotten to the refrigerators yet.
Just try it once. Just try it on your next one. Just try it. But it's beautiful. You got to make the refrigerator hole beautiful, right? The baseboard has to be there. Even
We do the side panels, like, but we've got a little bit of an unfair advantage that, like, we do have our own cabinet lines, our own retail store, like partnerships with Ferguson and Tile Shop, and like, so we exercise those to improve our buying rights that we can do more when our new builds. It's all a game.
You know what my favorite backsplash is?
Drywall.
Paint.
Yeah.
Paint. That's right.
Yeah.
That matches the other walls.
It does. It does. I mean, is there fat in our flips? Probably a little bit still.
Can I talk about that real quick?
Yeah.
So my second flip in Hopewell, I was gun shy, and so my dad said, why don't we just have the appraiser come out before we start the flip and give us what the comps, give us what the house should appraise for. He'll walk with us, we'll talk about what we're gonna do and all this stuff. And y'all should pay attention. This is very important, okay, because this changed my business. We had a garage that the guy had turned into his little retarded man cave. And so, but he had closed off the garage door. Right. And so we were like, well, what we're gonna do is we're going to take this single car garage and we're gonna, you know, carpet it, we're gonna finish the drywall, we're gonna put a mini split in it, and you know, we're gonna turn this into finished space and it'll add square footage. And the appraiser goes, why are you gonna do that? I said, well, because it'll add value. He goes, no, it won't, because there's no comps in the neighborhood that will justify that square footage. You'll actually probably not even get any multiplier of an ROI on that. But what you will get a multiplier of an ROI is if you take that wall out, put the door back with an electric garage opener and have a garage. And he said, and then I was talking about, you know, like backsplashes and all this stuff. He goes, you gotta give the new owner something to do, because they're gonna personalize their house, right? And so if you do all the personalization to your specifications, you're not living there.
I agree with that.
Right?
Yeah.
You know, and those end buyers, they want to personalize it. They want the pink pony wall. They want purple. Let them have fun with it. Let them do some stuff. Leave some stuff for them to do. Fix all the mechanicals, fix all the stuff, the hard stuff that's really expensive for them and very not expensive for us. Like, you know, we do a roof for $6,000 and, you know, roofing all day long when the fancy truck will do it for $12,000, right? You know? Mm-hmm. You do the hard stuff and you leave some of the easy stuff for them to personalize their home and have some bragging rights and go, oh, look at my backsplash, instead of look at Chris's backsplash.
Yeah.
You didn't do a backsplash in the last one.
No, I cut it off. It's a 4-inch backsplash now, domestic countertop.
Yeah.
There's only so many times you're gonna get yelled at before you stop doing it anyway.
I don't yell at her.
But actually let me see the numbers and walk backwards from there. After that, all the backsplashes we ended up choosing for other clients were simpler designs, stuff that was easier to install, that was photographed very well. Because with Gage, we do have both publics. We have the flippers, we have Judy's, and we have Josh and Higgins. We have people with both spectrums. privileged position because I'm learning with other people's mistakes and monies and successes.
Yeah.
We try to repeat that in the next project.
I've had some people in Richmond that do boutique flips, like, I mean, very personalized, right? But they're doing it themselves. They're not hiring a Gage to come in and you know, mark up everything that you do. And then, you know, the kiss of death on any project, scope creep, right? You know, once you have a scope, stick to it as much as you can, unless it's an unforeseen issue, right? The house is gonna sell.
They glamorize all this stuff, like with all those TV shows, you know, the HGTV and all that stuff. They make it so much easier, but from my realtor to realtor perspective, I walk into a house, I can see the potential, but some people, they'll see all the trash and they go, this is not for me, I want out. And it's gonna cost, their budget goes from, it's probably only 20 grand to 40 grand because of there's 10 layers of dirt on the ground, you know?
You can't, homeowners can't visualize.
They can't.
They can't visualize. And
That's why staging works the best. That's why
and that's why
landscaping.
that's why virtual staging is a kiss of death.
Yeah.
Right, because if they see that on the internet where they're all shopping and they're all scheduling with their realtors, and then they walk into a bare space, it's eternal. It's horrible. And you know, my wife, you know, a large part of her business this year has been stale listings. We market to those people because they've learned their lesson and now they're sitting on mortgage payments, right?
Yeah, their burn is going through.
You didn't stage that one house. Do you have any feedback about that? Do you hear anything from your buyers for not having the right stage?
No, nope, not at all. I think the house showed very well. One of the things, it was deceptively small looking from the outside. So once you got inside, it looked very big. And I think if we had actually put furniture into there, I think it would have kind of shrunk it down again. And because we did, you know, close up, you know, made some of the rooms smaller and that. I mean, it had a good amount of space, but the bedrooms were not overly large and, you know, so I think it actually helped, huh?
It had a lot of living space.
Yeah.
Yeah, you virtually staged it, and then, yeah, I guess and it went really well.
Yeah.
That's what I was asking, because I was curious to see her.
We stage ours because my wife loves to stage houses as well.
Yeah.
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 You know, so
We test it every now and then.
Yeah, my wife's business services.
If she allows it to.
My wife services the largest flippers and new home builders in Richmond that aren't track home builders, and they do it every time.
Yeah.
Every single time, and so you know, success leaves clues. All right, and if the people that do it day in and day out, treat it like a business, are doing that kind of stuff, then you know, you should too.
Yeah, like it is. It's consistency.
All right, so we are down to the wire here.
Yeah, we probably should network a little bit.
Yep. So anybody got questions that
We made it.
that we can kind of help answer along the way? We talked about a lot of different things. Anything.
Tons of questions.
Tons of questions. You're fired up. BJ always has the question number one. What's the first question that comes to mind when you're talking about this fix and flip or build new?
I'll pass.
Ah, I was going to tee him up for what he actually is looking for.
I got a question.
Sure.
I mean, was this valuable to y'all in the room? Let's go around the room and let's do a takeaway. Let's go that way.
I like that. For me, it is learning. I listen to Rob because I'm part of that team, but it's the zone, knowing the market extremely well, knowing everybody that's in the space that does the best work. That's more important to me than anything, because I can tell you they will probably still be looking for property if they didn't call me. Now, I'm not bragging about myself, but they could have found another STR guy that would have thought that same thing, but I just had that conversation with somebody else the hour before I met them, and it turned really quickly for them. So having the right people in your corner.
I've got a follow-up question.
Sure. Yeah.
How long does it take to really know your zone? A lifetime or 3 hours of your 3 weeks when you're in a new.
So,
The basics.
the basics.
Have you ever seen a kid that just goes and jumps in the damn pool and figures it out? And then you see the kid whining and crying and snot running down his face and he won't even put his toe in the water in the kiddie pool, right? Some people just fail forward miraculously and they do a wonderful job. So sometimes you just gotta go jump in the deep end, man. I mean, but sometimes, don't be that little crying kid, but don't take forever.
For me, I always listen to the gurus out there. They always say it's 100 hours to mastery, at least, right? So for me, I play in this space. I'm doing 40 hours of work every single day. I'm looking at every single property that comes on the market. I flip through the MLS and I'm looking, and I've got it down now to the top 10%, and I'm weeding out the remaining garbage. And then I send that to my buyer, and then they go, oh my God, I love every one of these. Why did you pick these? And I go, it's just a...
So the answer is leverage your
understand it, but stay in the game long enough. Like, the first one never goes well, right? I have some clients that I helped. I did it myself. The first property that our team bought in Front Royal, the rule is you have to be 100 foot from your next door neighbor. The house we bought was 48 feet. I didn't even know. But I always got lucky. Somehow I got lucky that the house already had the permit in the past. And so they pushed us through, and we also had the neighbors that really liked us because they were the contractor that we used to finish that patio, who was not the right guy because he cost us too much money, and then we had a fight with him about the bill and had to have Gage come and fix it. You don't remember? That was a long time ago. So study. You're going to make mistakes along the way, but now I've got it down. It's like I can get you and them into a property tonight.
I think I'm the poster child for not having a zone. I've got a long-term rental down in Chesapeake, Virginia, down near Virginia Beach. I've got a midterm rental in Winchester. I recently sold a property in Waynesboro that I had.
Great market, by the way.
I know, I didn't want to sell that
is a
property,
great
but I
market.
can tell you the story on that one. And now I'm doing the flipping. And I think it's because I have an interest in everything, but I haven't found my zone yet. I'm really enjoying the flipping part of it.
Enough, you'll figure out that that's not your zone.
The bitterness is so good.
The reality is, it's true, right? It's definitely true. You find what you're good at. Go ahead.
I was going to say, it took us probably like 2 to 3 years maybe to kind of, because we tried a lot of different things. And I don't know, I'm a big believer, learn everything you can, talk to a ton of smart people that are 10 times smarter than you, and you'll kind of find that thing. And then once you find it, focus. Don't get distracted, focus on that one thing and do it really, really well, whether it's fix and flips, whether it's STRs, whether it's LTRs, right? But I think if you're just starting out, you kind of have to learn like how all these things work and then figure out your focus.
I don't know why anybody with a successful career would want to go into real estate, right? I mean, seriously, right? I mean, like, who would really?
100% true.
I mean, this is like something that you fall into, right? I mean, like, my whole reason for getting into flipping houses was because I didn't want a boss, right? I was doing government contracting, and I was like, just like these little piss ants telling me what to do all the time, and I just don't want to be told what to do. So I just sat down, and I go with a bottle of vodka, and I go, what can I do where I don't have any bosses? I'm gonna go flip house, right? And so that's how I fell into it. But I mean, if you have a great career, you should, in my humble opinion, everybody wants to be the bank someday, right? So why don't you just get good at lending, right? Why don't you just skip to the front of the room? Because that's what everybody wants. Everybody wants access to capital. And if you got or if you got a little bit of knowledge about how to wrap other people's money, I mean, you can like stop all the brain damage. Because this is brain damage. Flipping houses is brain damage. I'm gonna tell you.
Yeah. There's a lot to that.
Next month we'll be talking about lending.
Brain damage. There are a million real estate agents out there, right? And I feel like I'm a pretty good agent. I've been around 25 years, full time, not part time. 25 years. I even lasted through the 2008 market. Two things have happened to me throughout my career, and I'm going to just lay my hand on the soapbox for this one. In 2008, when everything was dying, I focused in on what was the best part of the market, and it was first-time home buyers. I stopped everything else, and I sat in an open house at a townhouse in Ashburn, and this person was like, I have to sell my house. I said, okay, no problem. We had 1 million people show up, and they were all like, you know, because the market's going this way. I said, I'm just going to stop you right here. What if we offered 10% less, I got you full closing costs paid, and the government gave you an $8,000 tax credit? Would you buy the house today? So I wrote that offer. Guess what got signed? That offer. They were basically saying, take my house before I lose any more money, right? So I jumped the market. I sold 28 houses that year. Everybody else was sucking wind. I switched my business at COVID. Everybody in real estate, I'm the best with the big fancy picture on the sign, right? I don't want my picture on the sign. I'm not that good looking, right? They use AI for my photographs now, by the way. I'm just telling you, right? You've seen it. You've seen it. By the way, my VA helps me with that a lot. She's really good at that. I just have to approve it along the way. But shifting my business into just short-term rentals and also understanding the zone has shifted my business. Now I'm going to sell 70 houses this year. Come on.
Good for you, man.
Good for you. That's not just real estate. That's all of it, right? I know the marketing game. I know the Instagram. I know the Facebook pages. I know the house flips. I know all of it. How did I learn it? Hours. It's taken me 6 years to kind of get
on-the-job training, man.
Yeah, 6 years to kind of get here. More than 100 hours. Yeah.
It's just getting in the game, man. You got to get in the game.
Let's,
anybody else got a question? No.
I'm sure we could all go all night, but we can single up. Let's definitely thank our sponsors. We got Absolute Altitude in the back. Joel is the man. If it takes a picture, it's him. Ada's Title. I recommend them. I think Kim's a beast. I get the smoothest transactions there. Lemon and Hale. Dana is a state attorney. Obviously, Cause a Stream.
Yep.
Envision in the back. Sell Simply. Yeah.
Cool.
It's just a collective. Like, we're all doing business together. I'm doing business with every single one of them. Like, and that's how it works. Like, you can pick up the phone and make deals happen. Cool. Let's break. It ran long.
Eat pizza. Thank you very much.